B2B selling right now, B2B sales, it is a lot. I know, Captain Obvious. More budget constraints, more stakeholders and buyers involved in the process. So longer sales cycles, right? And I don't know about you, and you can tell me in the chat, but I feel like status quo is winning more and more. So that dreaded, like, we're not going to do anything to change, that seems to be popping up a lot more. Hey, Sean. And so, hey, Sam, good to see you. So that's the first part, right? And then the second part is, it is getting, and I feel like this is something kind of dread that we carry around with us all the time anyway. It's getting harder and harder to find a way to pretend that your product is highly differentiated. Because even if it is for a minute, you have the sinking feeling, and you know that it is probably going to just be a couple minutes before a competitor copies it and commoditizes it, right? So features are just, they're not what they used to be anymore, and technology is innovating faster and faster. Now, all of that is like enough in and of itself, but here's what's the kind of insidious thing going on in the background. We're all having to learn all kinds of new AI tools. Now, you see how I'm operating this. You can imagine how that's going for me. I'm giving it a good try. But there's AI tools that we're expected to use to help us be more productive. But sometimes I feel like they're there to help us be inspected, right? And so drop a note if you think that that's kind of what's going on as well. All of that to say, it's hard to be a sales professional right now. But here's the thing, it is also hard to be a buyer right now. So I've got my notes here because I did not want to put slides on this whole time after how much time I spent on hair and makeup. I thought you should be looking at me. Buyers have it tough too, right? Like their biggest thing right now is because of AI. I feel like that's one of their biggest challenges, is that it's this great tool, right? It's supposed to help me be better. I can make decisions better. I can go out there and get information and data on anything I need. So that's what I do as a buyer. I go out there to get data and information. Well, there's a lot of it. And the problem is some of that information, actually probably a lot of that information is contradictory. So there's data that's on, if you're buying tech like G2s, for some reason, that is different than the data that you're seeing on Trustpilot or on Reddit or whatever the source is. It is all over the place. And so as a buyer, your life is difficult because think about it, like you as a buyer, this is your livelihood, right? So this is like a multi-million-dollar decision. It is your job and your reputation. This is not like Amazon's buy it now button. There's a lot at stake here. And so I don't know about you all, but I don't know any executives who are trying to stake their livelihood on an AI hallucination. They're not. And so what does that do? That means that now more than ever, and we're going to see if we can figure out how to show this one slide. There it is. Yay, it worked. Okay. All right. So here's the scoop, right? Like, just when I look at this data, I'm not going to read it to you. And it's from Gartner, right? And McKinsey. So pretty valid. The trick is right now, I guess maybe a few years ago, I think it was even Gartner that was talking about how, AI is going to make it so that human beings are barely in the sales process, right? So sellers don't pop in until the very, very end, and buyers are preferring self-serve. Well, that all has kind of had a switcheroo. They've kind of rolled that back. What they're saying now is 69% of B2B buyers want to, are turning to sales reps to validate those AI generated insights. So that means that I need a human being who's got experience and insight and background in the thing that I'm trying to buy to help me figure out what is real and what isn't. So almost like a human sifter to get through the noise. And translation, like human intelligence, who we are as sales professional, that is now way more important than it ever has been, not less, which is what we've kind of been made to believe for a long time. What do y'all think of that? Does that track with what you're feeling out there? I'm going to keep looking at chat here, so don't mind me. So your lived experience, what you've done in the past, your knowledge, that is super valuable to your buyer. And I'll probably say this a few times. One of the challenges that I face as a embedded coach when I go out to conversations with salespeople, to their sales conversations, is I will know for a fact that sales professional has sold to a very similar buyer at least one in a very similar situation very recently, right? And it'll be because I was on that other call as well, right? So I know that. Why is it then that they don't bring any of that insight or knowledge to bear in that conversation? Y'all, that is gold. Your buyer cannot get that insight and information and experience from anywhere else. Like AI doesn't have it because it's in your head and it hasn't figured out how to get in there yet. So do yourself a favor, bring that insight in, help that buyer see that you understand how this works. And that's kind of what is another human piece of what we need to be doing in sales right now. So let's see if I can figure out how to get back over here to my mug. We will not have this problem in the future, y'all. Okay, well, cool. It worked before. Oh man. After all that. So I will be posting a review about Restream because this is not cool. Let me check. Yeah, you can't see what else is out there. All right, so we're just going to keep going. Sorry about that. I'll keep trying though. It's almost like, hang on, maybe if I click it away. Let's see, some more relies on their yes, exactly. I love that word. Some partner, 100%. That's what it is. Like that's who we are. There we go. I had to delete it. So we can't see that slide again. If you are playing the partner, right? That's the need. That's what they want right now. That's what they're craving. And ideally, you're not going to let them fail, right? And that's what they need to know. And that's how you get to that partner piece. More on that later. So again, like what's in your head is vital, crucial. Don't sleep on the value of that, okay? Bring it to bear. Talk about your past experiences. Now, I'm not here telling you to go talk about your customers, right? Like, oh, this customer and that customer by name. Don't do that. That's a bad idea. But talk about the type of company, right? Like I worked with a buyer with you recently, and their implementation didn't go as well because they didn't have XYZ in place, right? That's not something that they would have known otherwise. It's not intuitive to them, especially when they're in the middle of this crazy, just buying process, right? So, okay. So what hopefully I've just impressed on you is that technology itself, product, AI technologies that are monitoring and helping you, they're not the differentiator anymore, right? So what is? Reality check is it's you. It's you, the sales professional and sales leaders as well, who you are, what you stand for, and how you bring that to bear to create value for your buyer. That's it. That is the only thing left in B2B sales that can differentiate you. Why? Because that magic, that connection, that collaboration that happens between buyer and seller, it cannot be copied. It cannot be duplicated because it's literally between one unique human and another unique human. So that is the part where you can have the most impact. That only works though if you're bringing your humanity and who you are to the equation. Right? Like anybody can go out there and read a script, and by the way, machines can too. But it takes a special partner, for example, to come in and engage with that buyer in a way that makes them feel trusted, makes the buyer feel heard, and makes them feel like they can trust you as the sales professional. So that connection between buyer and seller, magic, right? And guess what? You control that magic. So really, you're the differentiator, the sales professional. All right, so yay, give yourself a round of applause. You are the differentiator. I hope you're buying that because I don't know how I could say it to make it feel more true, right? With the amount of customers that I talk to, with the amount of sales teams that I work with, sometimes I nose in and I like go talk to customers as well. That's it. They're not buying a product per se. They're buying the confidence and the comfort that comes with working with a person who gets them and who they feel is in their corner, okay? So now here's the part where this gets a little bit unhinged, and I really need you all to chime in on this because this is something I've been stewing on and been through a lot of rabbit holes, and I want to hear where you stand with this. But we've established that as a sales professional, you can control the power and that magic between you and the buyer. Buyer is desperate for humanity. They're desperate for someone to help them. Awesome. So that's table stakes, right? So on one hand, that's what's happening. Buyers are like, we can't do this. We're overwhelmed with AI. Who can we get in here that's going to help us not screw this up and lose our job? On the other hand, though, my observation is the sales organizations, companies are over here investing in more technologies, a lot of AI and methodologies that are meant explicitly meant to standardize, make more predictable, make more efficient, make more effective, all of those things that kind of scream same to me. It's almost like by bringing these tools into the tech stack, I feel like we're pulling salespeople a little bit further from the buyer. Because if you're having to follow whatever the rules are for that technology or that methodology, that is by nature not letting you really be who you are. And that's no bueno in the situation that we're in right now. So anybody have anything to say about that? That's like my big thing I'm just stewing on right now. And I keep on seeing it over and over again. But of course, I'm not everywhere. So I'd love to hear what you all think. Do you feel like the more you're told to use these tools or to follow a strict methodology like the stakeholder map, the colored sheet, or any of that stuff, do you feel like that makes you do things that are maybe counterintuitive? Like, I'm not leading the witness. I genuinely want to know what that is, right? And so tools that are being bought are almost knocking a little bit of the humanity out of salespeople, because you're not here trying to go against what your company and your organization is telling you to do. There's rules, they're putting them in place, there's protocols, you have to follow them, or you end up, having to feel the wrath of it at some point or another. So that means that, well, I guess, aren't we just like robotizing, right? Isn't that like robotizing who we are as sales professionals? Isn't that doing the exact thing that we know is not the right thing for the buyer right now, putting them in some sort of a methodology? I don't think that's what they want. And by the way, I don't think buyers love to hear the same questions over and over again. You may have seen my video for that. Drives me bananas. They have a canned answer for that. So buyers don't want to work with the salespeople that sound the same. So yet, why are we having entire organizations working with methodologies that have been trained to millions of people? It doesn't make sense to me. Again, looking to see what you all have to say on that. But one thing I want to be clear about, though, in no way do I believe, and y'all know I'm an advocate of sales professionals and sales leaders, I don't think that the sales leader is the villain in this story. I don't think that they're doing this type of thing on purpose. I think what's happening is the CEOs out there are getting bombarded with magazines, analysts, everything that they're seeing and reading is like, hey, CEO, AI or die, right? Get your AI going in your company or you're going to be obsolete by X year. That's all the noise that the CEOs are seeing. So what are they doing? They come back to their company and are like, yo, y'all need to be using AI. And so obviously one of the first candidates for that is going to be the chief revenue officer, the sales leader, because it's a revenue engine. So why not try to use AI there to make more money? Ping me if you want to know more about this, but I found some data that showed that there's a negative ROI, by the way, coming in some of these investments. Really interesting. So send me a DM if you want to hear more about that. But at the same point, let me just make sure I don't miss anything here. Oh. So that sales leader. So that goes downhill. Whatever that CEO is thinking goes downhill and it lands in that sales leader's lap. That sales leader, by the way, is also now a sitting duck, because I don't even know how many vendors out there that are selling these tools that are promising some glorious outcome that the sales leader is going to be able to go brag to the CEO about. They don't stand a chance. They're going to buy it, right? Because that's their charter right now. And the thing is, they may buy it even though they know that that's not the thing that is going to work best for you as a sales professional. So their hands are kind of tied too. And it's almost like their humanity, they know what sales is. More than likely, they were a salesperson before. So their humanity is getting caught in the shuffle, right? And so I don't blame, all that to say, I don't blame sales leaders. I think that they need to be coached and helped, but I do think that it's kind of like short end of the stick. They have to execute on whatever this larger strategy is. But it doesn't have to be this way. Okay, so all of that to say, that was all just me trying to get you to understand and see what's going on and why this is so important. But if you are in a situation where you're either not sure how you should be facilitating a sale to differentiate, or you've got a lot of noise coming from your company or whatever you read that's telling you to do things a very specific, certain way, then there's an antidote for that, right? Like those are things that are naturally pulling you away from the buyer. But human-to-human sales acumen, that is the antidote for this. That's why I spent a lot of months heads down, locked in, putting this together, because I'm seeing that this is a big challenge right now. So human-to-human sales acumen, it is the mindset and a series of skills. So a skill set that exist to help you lean on who you are as a human, create value for that buyer, and help them make a decision that is right, that they can be confident about, and by the way, is in your favor. So that's what human-to-human sales acumen is. And there's a lot of components to it. And I will be having a boot camp on it starting in September. So what these live series are is just for me to kind of give you all a little taste of what's going on, what I'm seeing, and look at and give you an introduction to each of the components within the human-to-human sales acumen, like the entity, right? What I'm trying to tell you about that is going to be each week there's going to be a different topic or a piece of information that I'm going to share about. Ultimately, you can see if this is something that you want to adopt. And if so, yay, I'll see you in the fall in the boot camp. If not, cool, you have enough to go out there and be aware that you need to be approaching sales a little bit differently. So just like a personal note, right? So I told you that I spent a lot of months on this. I've always believed that if you are working with it, like in my role, like if you are working with a sales professional and you give them a methodology that says, in this situation, do this. In that situation, do this. Or here's a sheet that you fill out here. Here's what you have to put here. Here's the toll gate for this. It might work for a little while, but the minute that you walk away or no one's watching, that's not what's going to happen, because most salespeople, we kind of do know what we're doing. If we've made it in this industry for a while, we get the human part. That's why y'all are here right now. So it's important that we don't keep on handing you all more methodologies. It's kind of so when I wrote my book in 2019, people would say, oh, is this a methodology? I'd be like, no, it's not. It's just me talking to my salespeople. It's kind of a love letter, letting them know what they need to be thinking while they're out there, right? Which, by the way, was double down on your humanity. Go out there and work on the skills that make you uniquely human. 2019, but here we are now, right? It's not too late. So what I'm going to do in this series is help you look at sales today, how the buyer's experience is, and how you can impact that experience. I don't have like a ton of sheets. I mean, I might have some tools for you along the way, but I'm not going to be giving you a rigid map, because to me, that takes away from who you are and how you create value for your buyer. I'm not here to dull that. So what I want you to take away from all of this is, where can I put my humanity to play? Like where can I bring my humanity more to an opportunity? And so just before you're going to say something or do something or planning your next call, just take a second and ask yourself, is this going to align with that human that I'm selling to? Right? Is this going to matter to them? Or is this something that I have to do to check a box? Like, okay, if you have to check a box, but then supplement the hell out of that with the things that are human, that are going to make a difference to your buyer. And those are the skills that are part of human-to-human sales acumen. So it's like your defense, it's your shield. These are the things that you have to get good at, because they're the things that machines cannot replicate, at least not yet. Let's see, Dave, hi Dave, you got something to say here? So yeah, methodology. Yes, exactly. Good words, distract and impede. Exactly what I'm saying. Like, if something can help you and you can use it in a way that makes you like remember or makes you better, cool, do it. But the minute it starts to feel like it's making you do the thing that you wouldn't want to do, or you don't know is right to do, or you haven't thought through it being the right thing, pause and just make sure, because that is the moment in which that deal, it could be won or lost. As a sales professional, you have to be able to get into that moment. You have to meet the buyer where they are in that moment and adapt what your approach is. And all of y'all that are on here, I have a strong suspicion you know that, right? Like every buyer is not the same. Every salesperson is not the same. So the idea of a rigid sales methodology, which by the way, I've been trained in like a lot of them, I just don't think it works, because the minute the buyer throws a curveball, the methodology is not going to be able to help you. The only thing that can is who you, like your mind, what you think, your experience, what your background is, and your intention toward that buyer, right? And what you're trying to achieve. So we have to stop letting that get drowned out. And that is what human-to-human sales acumen is all about. So told you already about the LinkedIn Live series. Now let's see if I can get these slides to work. In the meantime, we should ask some questions if you have any. No, that's not supposed to be. Oh, look at that. That's you, the hero, by the way, the sales professional. Oh, and look at, we're robotizing salespeople. Yes, AI helped me make those slides. Okay, so this I want to show you. So this is a QR code. This is going to take you to a web page that I made that's got it has a request for feedback for today's session. And yes, you can tell me that I'm not great at tech. I'm used to it. And then it's got a link where you can go look and see and learn more about the actual boot camp. You can learn about the schedule for the LinkedIn Lives that are going to be happening. And there's also something you can download. It's like a human-to-human value-centered selling guide. A lot of good questions in there, some ways to think, etc. So just go out there. There's a lot of information. If you can't get there, just message me. I'll send you whatever I can. But I want to make sure that as you leave here today, or as we leave, that you have things that you can look at to remind you of this. And I think if I had to pick one of the biggest takeaways I want for you is this. Well, no, that's not it. That's not the wrap yet. Here we go. Look at that. That is bananas to me. I feel like just last year, it was like 70% of buyers want self-serve. They don't even want to look at a salesperson. But here we are because they figured out that it's not all that. Like their livelihood's on the line. Better not trust the AI hallucination. And so this is the thought I want you to have in your head as you leave me today, so that when you are in conversations or preparing for conversations with your buyer, you will think twice about what you're going to do and even just prep for that call through that lens. Okay, that's the gist of today. So now next week and beyond, we're going to have a lot more details and, spoiler alert, like action items for you. But this is the homework. So I hope I'll see y'all next week. But this is the homework for next week: is find situations where you catch yourself doing the thing that maybe you would have naturally done, and then be able to come tell me what that was and why that worked better. I want real life examples of this stuff. And I know we're a little quiet this morning, but hopefully that'll change as well. But that's the homework for next week. So let me show you real quick. This is our schedule. So sneak peek of what the components are of human-to-human sales acumen. So we've got the first part, which is the foundation of it. It's intention and mindset, right? The mindset drives behavior, your actions. That's all controlled by what's in your head. So we start there. That's where you start building the human-to-human sales acumen muscle. Then, and this one's pretty cool, it's recognizing your buyers. So one of the things in a lot of years that I've learned is that there's not like 80 different kinds of buyers that you come across. There's a few behavioral type archetypes and behavioral profiles that are in your neighborhood more often than not, especially depending on like what you're trying to sell. And there are certain dimensions that they are either one way or another way. And depending on that configuration, you get some insight into what they're after and how to communicate with them. So recognizing buyers is largely about understanding their communication style, so that everything else you do from that point is going to be tuned to what will resonate with them. So I'm not playing the game of telling you how to read personalities, because that's dangerous and most of it's debunked, but very specific criteria and how people fall. That's what this will be about. I'm not going to say more about it. So then in 4, and at the end of June, curiosity and attuned listening. This one you've heard me talk about ad nauseum. 2 of the most important things. Like if you want humanity to show, you got to get this right. Super important. And then week of July 4th, we're off. Then the next one is critical thinking. So by the way, these are all things that were at the World Economic Forum. Harvard's writing about them in one way, shape, or form. I've distilled them to the ones that I know will work in sales, right? And critical thinking is super important. This is where you take what you learn from that buyer, process it against your experience and your insight and even your intuition, and then figure out how to move that deal forward. Really important. And last, as you've done these things, you will find yourself wanting to be an advocate for that buyer. And I know some of y'all out there, my friends who've done my classes before, know I'm really big on this, right? Be that customer advocate sales professional. That is what we'll be talking about on July 16th. And then last, this is, kind of thing we're all here for. If you sharpen the human-to-human sales acumen muscle, if you master it, you're going to learn how to influence your buyer. Thanks, Ray. Thanks for joining. And that's the outcome. So do all of these things right, get all of these things straight in human-to-human sales acumen, and you will be able to influence that buyer. You will have earned the right to influence that buyer. And that is what this is all about. When you can be the human that can influence them, be their partner, like Sam said, be the person that is in their corner, all those things. That's kind of what we're after when we go through human-to-human sales acumen. And then last but not least, so we've got a month end. I'm not going to ask you to join that. That'd be a bad idea. But then August 6th, that's going to be like my Ask Me Anything. And so that's going to be, we're going to talk, right? So like, you're going to chat me a question. I'm going to answer it. Anything that you want to learn about, know more about before that boot camp, because the boot camp will have 15 seats and you'll have to apply for the seats to join it, because I can't get one-to-one time with more than 15 people. So let's see what else. That's it. So that's all I want to show you today. I mean, really just thank you. Be patient with me. Like, I survived. We didn't have major technical glitches. I really wish you could see my mug right now, but that does not seem to be what is going to happen here. Oh, yay, there I am. Good. So you can see me say goodbye. So anyway, thank you so much for being here. It's my first LinkedIn Live. This technology is not intuitive, but I'm going to learn it. This topic is hot, y'all. Y'all know that I'm in your corner and I want you to do awesome. I promise you, just like the book, I would not have locked myself in a room to write it and to put this together if I didn't know that it is the thing that no one else is telling you and that no one else is teaching you. So that's what this is all about to me. So now I'm going to stay on for a few extra minutes here. We're just like about 11:30. Happy to stay on. I'll look at the chat and I'll answer any questions you have. But really, thank you all so much for being here. I know it's hard to take the time out, but it means a lot to me that you're here, especially my people that I've worked with in the past. Thank you. And drop me a note, right? If there's something that you think that I didn't cover or that you want me to cover, whatever. I'm like always here for y'all. So just stay in touch with DM in between these sessions. Don't forget to do your homework.